As we continue this series on 14 tips for a struggling marriage, we're on number 6 today. And even though this article from thrivingmarriages.com was written during the time of the coronavirus, and if you're looking at this soon after I recorded it, you don't need me to tell that. If you're looking at it years later, it'll be helpful for the context to realize that we're not out of the woods yet on this. There are a lot of variants that are coming up, and as you know, because you're living close to it or you've heard, there's been a lot of controversy concerning what are the levels of precautions we need to take. What's the most helpful for our kids? What's going to nip this thing quicker? What's going to build up better immunity? A lot of controversy here, but tip number 6, if your marriage is struggling, especially because you don't agree as a couple on the measures that you need to take, that you think are wise and loving and healthy, address those differences. Address your differences in approach. The divisions in our country around COVID-19, mask wearing, social distancing, take the vaccination, don't take the vaccination. These issues are showing up in relationships. And when opinions diverge, it's very important for us to talk about these things, not to argue about them, not to put the other person down or make the other person feel stupid, but to respectfully engage in conversation where you are seeking first to understand and then to be understood, and to look for that place of maybe not common ground, but at least that place where you can agree to disagree. And it may impact plans that you have for date nights. It may impact plans that you have for getting together with other people in your home or outside your home. But don't sweep these things under the rug. Couples conflict is increasing around these varieties of opinion and how to interact with the world in these days. Virus fear versus virus fatigue sometimes needs to be addressed to keep your marriage as emotionally safe as possible. But I'm just going to say, virus or no virus, masks or no masks, this is something that we need to value in our marriage. And what I mean by that is understanding, first of all, because you have a strong opinion about something, doesn't mean that your spouse has to share that opinion. And secondly, just because your spouse has a strong opinion about something that's different from yours doesn't mean they're rejecting you. It doesn't mean that they see you as inferior. And so the idea is for couples to come together as a team and say, what's going to be best for our team? And there's almost never an immediate automatic knowing of the answer to that. It involves discussion. It involves mutual respect. It involves patience. It involves clarifying with one another. What do you mean by that? It involves an understanding that maybe there's not a right or a wrong answer. Maybe it's just a matter of they're different and we're going to have to agree to disagree. My wife and I had a disagreement the other day related to how we should or shouldn't celebrate the holidays. And without getting into detail or giving any kind of indication of who had what position, we said some things to each other. I don't think either one of us, in fact, I'm sure that neither one of us regretted what we said or the way we said it, but we were strong in what we said, although it didn't devolve into a fight. we ended the conversation with a very different idea of how to celebrate the holidays. So, but my wife came back a day or two later and said, "Can we talk about that?" And we did. We had another conversation. And again, we didn't end up any differently, but we had a little better understanding of where the other person was coming from. And we were a little more respectful, I think. It's not that we weren't respectful in that first conversation, but I think there was a little more listening and a little more understanding and a little more respect in that second conversation. So it really doesn't matter what the issue is, the principle is, the practice is, the discipline is. Talk about these things and do it in a way that's mutually respectful of the other person, even if you don't agree with their position.